It's Mac and Perry in the place. Da-na-na-na. Mac and Perry.
Go live to create.
Da-na-na-na. Mac and Perry invite you to stay.
Hello and welcome once again to the Windy City's finest on location at Good Times with Mac and Perry. I'm Perry, he's Mac, and this is...
I'm David Gabert.
Yes, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm super excited to do some icebreaker games with you. We have a few, and the first one that we have coming up here is trivia, testing our knowledge of Lethbridge. Our first one is, what is the official twin city of Lethbridge? Is it A, Thunder Bay, Ontario, B, Lethbridge, Newfoundland and Labrador, C, Abbotsford, BC, or D, Saint Laurent, Quebec?
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
I was expecting Culver City as an option and it's not there. I'm going to go with Saint Laurent, Quebec.
That is correct. Oh my
Brilliant.
gosh. Was that a guess? Or
I was trying to picture the sign that stands like a block from my work with all the directions to a bunch of different cities, and I'm pretty sure I've seen Saint Laurent on that sign.
Okay, interesting. Very cool. Yeah, awesome. Our next question, moving swiftly along, is Lethbridge is second only to which city in its number of windy days per year? A, St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, B, Winnipeg, Manitoba, C, Quebec City, D, Tofino, BC.
I'm going to go St. John.
Yeah, that is correct.
Oh,
you are 2 for 2. That's amazing. Awesome. And was that just a guess?
That was just a guess.
Amazing.
Yep.
We love it.
Yep.
Awesome. We're going to move swiftly along to our this or that game. Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
I'll let you go.
Book or movie?
Ooh.
Book, 100%. Although I do often fall into the trap of not carving enough time out for a book and going for movie just so I can still embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think of like the kind of hybrid where it's a book that's made into a movie? Where do you stand on that?
I actually love the movies that are made into a choose your own adventure book.
Oh.
I'm forgetting the one that was on Netflix. I don't recall the name of it, but
Yeah.
it was like choose A, B, or C.
Oh.
And that was something that was just incredible to me. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, carving out the time. I don't think you're alone there. It is hard to do sometimes, so that is very fair.
Yeah.
And what kind of I'm going off a little bit here, but what kind of genre is your favorite?
Oh, sci-fi fantasy.
Sci-fi?
That escapism appeals to me.
Yeah. Nice. Well, amazing. I think we'll move swiftly along
All
here
right.
to our tumbling towers.
Okay.
I'm going to get the questions out from back here. You've played tumbling towers before?
I have.
Yeah, so we just can't do the top 3 rows.
Okay.
And we've kind of advanced tumbling towers because the table is a bit shaky. But I will let you do the honors again and go first. And that looks like
A 2.
number 2. What does your perfect day look like?
I am an evening person, so it starts by sleeping in.
Love it.
Having a nice cup of coffee. Usually doing like a brunch or something very introverted to start, like something quiet, something at home, not having a pressure to leave the home for a bit, and then going out and seeing people, connecting. It could be work, it could be theater, it could be just going out with my friends or family. Something different. My perfect day is a day that is not the same as the one before.
Right.
I'm not a creature of routine, so yeah, something that's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And then depending on how it goes, it could be staying out late, it could be being home and in bed by 8 o'clock.
Yeah. The tower has not fallen, so we're trying to keep that streak alive here. This is number 54, right? At the other end of the spectrum here. What's one act of kindness we should all do more of?
Being grateful. Being appreciative of like everybody, everything, the littlest things, and just like a smile and a wave go a long way. And hearing the words "thank you for being you" or that gratitude, I think is something that's simple that we don't need to overthink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I I'm curious where that comes from in your experience, because I think it's potentially a very rural, small town thing. Has that always been a part of your life, or?
No, this was a learning after I shifted from working in tourism to mental health.
Right.
And it came a lot from the fast-paced nature of the world, and it's sort of, since the world shut down with the pandemic and everything, has been something that's been reinforced, like self-reinforced, in terms of making sure I take the time to appreciate myself, my family, my friends, my coworkers, whoever it might be, because I don't know that I'm always good about it if I'm not intentional.
Right,
So,
being intentional about it. Yeah, yeah. I think I might steal that from my answer to that question. It would be being intentional, because I think nowadays that our attention and intention can be, I don't know, lost a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think I think those two things go great hand in hand. Intentional gratitude. I think that's really beautiful. You do the honors.
Okay.
Yeah, the middle ones are serving us great today.
18.
18. What is something that takes a lot of time, but is definitely worth it?
I'd have to go back to the earlier question and say reading a book over the movie. I've never, or even without a movie attached to it, like I've never regretted reading a book. I love high fantasy, and sometimes the first few chapters are so hard to get into or keep up with the characters, but I have yet to get to to read a book that I haven't appreciated, even if I didn't necessarily enjoy the book. I haven't appreciated getting over that hurdle, over that initial, now I'm vested in it.
Yeah. It sounds like it's kind of like that element of buying into it.
Yeah.
And once you get over that, you're in it,
Yeah.
and you can be grateful for it and just enjoy it, right?
And even if I'm annoyed at the characters, I still need to see how it ends.
Yes,
So, yeah.
that's great. That's great. Awesome. I think that is all the time that we have for this segment. So thank you so much for playing these icebreaker games with me. It's been wonderful getting to know you. And this has been the Windy City's finest on location here at Good Times with Mac and Perry. I'm Perry. He's Mac, and this is
David Gabert.
And we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Windy City's finest on location here at Good Times with Mac and Perry. I'm Mac, he's Perry, and this is
David Gabert.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for agreeing to chat with us, David. So you are an improvisation. Can't say it now. Improvisational theater artist, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Tell me about your practice.
I'm an improviser in just about every aspect of my life, on stage, off the stage, teaching as a performer, as somebody who works behind the scenes to run improv companies and gets tapped to MC lots of things, as somebody who lives by yes, let's as the golden rule of my life. So, yeah.
Nice. And I guess like more specifically about like improvisation, I can't even say it. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a hard segment if I can't say improvisational. Let me say improv theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like maybe we could talk a bit about like if there's a certain style that you have or something like that. Like if you had to define yourself, I guess, in your practice.
It's changed, it's evolved over the years. I would say currently the word that comes to mind the most is play. For myself, if I'm not having fun with it, if I'm not laughing, if I'm not engaged and not being authentic in that play, I don't feel like I'm doing it right for me. Both on and off the stage, I think for me it's all about that honest, authentic exploration of emotions, of feelings, of life, of the world around us, and reflecting in that in a way that isn't so serious. And I think that's hugely important to me in what I do as an improviser.
Yeah, and was that kind of something that's kind of evolved over time?
Yeah, I've always, ever since I started doing improv, since I started doing theater, I've always liked being on stage. I've liked, in particular, being able to explore characters in somebody else's shoes. And doing in-depth character studies, either scripted, unscripted, as a director, whatever that looks like, and enjoying taking an audience on the journey with me. Feeling that connection, having them gasp, having them root for me or root against me, depending on the role. And in improv, it's the same thing, but in a much shorter bite. And I love improv because it's also something that fits within the hectic, chaotic life that I live. It's something that changes and grows based on the season, based on the day, based on the week. Like whatever mindset I bring into the room is the mindset of the show I'm going to have. And I, in recent years, have not left a show feeling disheartened with anything. So, yeah.
Good, yeah. Nice. Yeah, it seems like, even I'm thinking about just like a traditional like 2-act theater piece or something, and it's like you said, the improv is a lot shorter, but it's also like you're potentially like dealing with more current events, or it's very like fast moving, right?
I have done a lot of Taylor Swift scenes in the last year in particular, since the Eras tour started. That seemed to be a thing. If we ask for a place to get lost, we live in southern Alberta. It's always a corn maze, and it's always in Tabor. There's some of those things that are unchanging, and some of them that are so topical. Doing a show 2 days after the U.S. election, it was a very election-heavy show, but at the same time, not, because nobody wanted to talk about it. So going back and forth on like yes and no. Sometimes it lets us explore the real world. Sometimes it lets us escape from it for a few seconds.
Yeah, interesting, yeah. And I guess, we're talking about kind of your background. What led you to become an improvisational theater? Got it! An improv actor.
Yeah, I got into theater itself. I was a very shy, very introverted kid. I was told I should never do anything involving speaking or writing. I work in communication now, and I act. And it wasn't until my parents' divorce in high school that I got into theater as a way to express myself. And I found improv during high school, into university, really fell in love with it as a way to sort of unwind, as that self-care side of things. And then kept up with it. Kept it in terms of the friendships I make, in the games I play, in everything I do. Prior to doing it as theater, I also used it a lot in my personal life, in like Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games, and the improvised storytelling that comes out in there. So both the short-form humor, but also as a way to tell really interesting stories that are collectively told by a group of people rather than a single author.
Looking at some of the photos, it seems like you've been performing with a lot of the same people for quite a while, right?
Yeah, a number of the people I work with. I've worked with over a decade now, which is so incredible, so amazing. They know what I'm going to do before I choose to do it, in a scene, in a partner. But also, they're some of my closest friends in real life. The photo that's right beside us here, this is out of those people. I still actively work with all of them in some capacity, and that photo was taken at the Empress in 2012, so over 10 years ago now. And just a couple of years ago, on the exact same day we took that photo, we had a cast here at Good Times with all but one of the same people. And so that meaningful, that lifelong connection, who we were in 2012, and seeing ourselves all grow into completely different families, different careers, different jobs, different everything, has been the connections are so meaningful.
Absolutely, yeah. It's great that you could stay in touch and keep performing together. Yeah. And I assume it also probably helps with the actual performances themselves to know each other and
it helps us be much more authentic with one another. We're never guarded. There's a level of trust that comes with a connection to that level that you just can't force, you can't fake.
Did you have any sort of like mentor, anyone who was important to you as you were learning improv when you were first starting out?
Not overly.
No.
I would honestly say it was a mentorship of my peers. Okay. Most of my learnings came from I was a 4-H kid growing up, and learn to do by doing is one of their core tenets. And I would say that's what we did at the U of L. That's what we did with this group of people in the photo. Is oftentimes we would all bring a piece of that puzzle and learn from each other and give each other honest feedback. But there was no professor, there was no mentor that any of us really had, as far as I know. Myself, for sure, there was no person that I would reach out to if I had a question about improv, but a vast variety of people who I see as peers more than mentors. Yeah.
I think it's kind of a nice segue to the ImpromptOu Players. Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah. So ImpromptOu was a fun journey to get to where ImpromptOu is nowadays. It started. This photo, for example, is not ImpromptOu. This is a previous theater company that a bunch of us ran, more through university to do like murder mysteries or Christmas parties and have a little bit of extra spending cash here or there. So we started it in 2006. It was called Drama Nuts, and we ran it for a decade. We did all sorts of Christmas parties. We self-produced some shows. We did a lot of corporate functions and those sort of things. And it was a fun journey for what it was, but as we moved on in our careers, we realized we wanted something different. And I was approached by my dear friend and colleague Jay Whitehead with Theatre Outre about actually partnering with them. So the previous theater company, we had rented a space on the north side, very cost prohibitive. Operating any sort of venue is challenging, but when you're a volunteer and side gigs here or there sort of theater company, paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in rent isn't a reality. And so when Jay approached me, it was really to share a space. And from that, there was a natural growth and evolution. It let us diversify our voices in the queer community a lot more with a lot of us in that post-university funk, myself included, of finding who I authentically was and what were the masks, the faces that I put on for my own sake and to keep myself safe. And through that journey, I knew I still wanted to do improv, but I knew how I was doing it through the other company, in that contracting shows became more prohibitive. It became less fun because somebody else was setting the expectations of what the show should look like. And that's where ImpromptOu was born, was that shift from doing shows that were contracting for the sake of paying rent to doing it as a true exploration of who we are as people, celebrating it, laughing at the world around us, and not pulling any punches. Being truly and authentically who ImpromptOu is supposed to be. So it was set up as the improvised wing of Theatre Outre, whose mandate is to push boundaries and explore things that operate often outside of the sexual or gendered norms in society. And something that we wanted to do with our improv was also push the boundaries with some of the shows we were creating, and not just keep it family friendly, not keep it safe, but do brave and challenging things on stage. And so since that time, we radically have. ImpromptOu started 2016, 2017-ish, so it's been around for a while now, and now called Good Times Home. So yeah.
And you're still going strong. Yeah.
We are.
Yeah. I mean, did that change your audience at all?
Yes. Yeah. Being part of a queer theater company in Southern Alberta, definitely there's still changes, there's still growth in our community that we're not as inclusive as we, when I say we, I'm talking Southern Alberta in general, as we possibly could be. We don't necessarily celebrate differences, we attack them, and the queer theater community definitely is a part of that. We have definitely had instances, thinking when we do just like open shows at places like the Owl or Festival Square, where people aren't specifically coming to a queer event or knew they were coming to a queer event, where you do get hecklers, where you do get some recourse after the fact of people saying, hey, why are you doing this? This isn't okay. So
how do you deal with that?
I take it as a badge of pride. It's almost, we had a really good discussion this summer as a troupe to come together and talk about the name queerprov in and of itself. And every time somebody pushes up against who any of our members are, however they identify, whatever their gender or sexual identity or who they are as a person is, it reinforces the importance to have that right there in our name, to be attached to Theatre Outre as a queer company, because we have that purpose of advocating through laughter and facilitating change in a way that is wonderful. I had a student of mine who never would have ever, and he came up to me after the show. He came out to one of our queerprov shows. He had been taking an improv class with me and wanted to see what it was like on the other side. Came out to one of the shows, came up to me afterwards and said, never in a million years would I have thought I was okay at laughing and getting as vested into a lot of those gender identity jokes as I did. And it was just one of those moments that's like, it's not a matter of, we're not correcting anybody when we're up here on stage. We're trying to share pieces of ourselves. And that advocacy through sharing is something that I think justifies who we are, why we're attached to a queer theater company and not just an improv company, and why it's important that it's right there in the name of our shows.
How often would you be rehearsing for improv, or how do you rehearse for improv?
Yeah, I'm not a sports person. I need to preface this off the get-go. But the analogy I make is to like a hockey practice, where you're learning the skills, you're learning how to connect, you're learning how to read if somebody's going to pass you the puck. You need to know who is your forward, who's your defense, who's your goalie, who's good at what skill, to the point that you can anticipate what's going on. And so that's what we do about half the time in our rehearsal, is just running things so that we have that sense of each other, so that we can just let go and trust one another on stage and know that if I drop something, John or Erica or Mark are going to pick up a character, a joke, a song, whatever that might be, because we have that trust, we have that teamwork. And that is something that through rehearsal you can easily build. The other part of it is spent a lot on the creative side. Improv is not something that works when it's a top-down director telling everybody what to do, but it works best when the ideas come from everybody for new games, new shows, new characters, new formats, whatever that looks like. And so a lot of the time at our rehearsal is spent talking through or trying out new games, what gimmicks work, what don't land, those sort of things.
You also teach classes, right, at New West Theatre. Tell me about that, a little about that.
I do. A couple years ago, last fall actually, I started teaching adult improv classes for New West Theatre. Something that they had been looking at was expanding their education programming, and so I started teaching improv with them, with some intro classes, and now intermediate and advanced classes as well. So, yeah.
And how has that experience been for you?
It's been completely different than how I expected. So I went to the U of L, I studied theater there, and so I had a very traditional, classroom-based learning for theater school, a very, very direct sort of learning. Teaching adult improv through New West has been very eye-opening as to how we as adults forget to play and have fun. And so a lot of things that we do in the classes, both intro, intermediate, and advanced, is reminding ourselves to be ourselves and that we don't have to pretend to be what the world wants us to be. And then by doing that, we can find the characters, the stories, the skills, the more traditional, taught skills, which all come after we remember it's okay to be silly, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to have fun up there, and that has been absolutely wonderful in the classes. And then also, it's a certain kind of person who will sign up for an improv class on a whim as an adult and take it, and seeing the connections built between students who are going for a drink after class and those sort of things. There's just something so heartwarming about in this post-pandemic world, seeing people come together and make new friendships outside of the circles that are safe. So.
Oh, it's lovely, yeah, really good, yeah. And I guess the last question we try to always ask people is, how has improvisation and your practice. How has that changed you as a person?
It's made me much more accepting, I'd say, much more ironically patient, in that there's a lot of different ways. There is a book by a professor in the States called Dave Evans. I'm blanking on the name of the book, but it's essentially using improv techniques in a business practice. How do you look at the options before you and choose the best one rather than do planning for 5-10 years in advance? And that's sort of what improv has really taught me over and over again. That even the best laid plans can go out the window very, very quickly. And improv has given me the ability to look at what's going on in that moment. Maybe it's with my family, maybe it's with my friends, maybe it's at work in a professional decision. It's given me the ability to look at those options without needing to always worry about every detail being on that 10-year plan, on that 5-year plan, sort of a thing. Still having those goals, but adjusting those goals based on the world, based on the reality of the people that I'm interacting with.
Oh, lovely, yeah. It sounds like a very good skill to have. For sure.
I nothing but advocate for it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Great. Yeah, well, yeah, it's been a lovely conversation, David.
Yes,
Thanks so
you.
much for chatting. That's all the time we have for this segment. So this has been the Windy City's Finest on location here at Good Times with Mac and Perry. I'm Mac, he's Perry, and this has been
David.
David. All right, we will be right back.
Hello and welcome once again to the Windy City's Finest on location here at Good Times with Mac and Perry. I'm Perry, he's Mac, and this is
David.
Yes, I've thoroughly enjoyed playing games with you in our first segment and hearing your conversation with Mac in the second segment. And I'm super looking forward to our showcase. We're going to look at some photos from previous things. Yeah. And yeah, just kind of hear the story behind them, ask some questions about them, and just, yeah, get to know a little more visuals behind your artistic practice and story. So the first one we have up here looks very dramatic. What can you tell me about this piece?
This is from Tales from the House, which is our improvised horror anthology show. So this is from just earlier this year, actually, this October. And it's an improv show where we actually aim to remove the humor and replace it with like the unsettling undertones of the Halloween season. So we do what's like table work rather than like a stage show. We start on stage, which is where this photo's taken as one of the lore keepers, one of the storytellers. And then we wander from table to table in the audience. And each of the performers tells a different ghoulish tale inspired by the suggestion at that table. So one of the things we learned about this show was the importance of being able to look in the eyes of people when you're telling an unsettling story. Doing it from the safety of stage, the audience doesn't connect the same way as when you're looking at them from 2, 3, like this far away to tell them the story you've come up with. Everything from fortune telling to the origins of monsters to traumatic childhood experiences to otherworldly beings to we let every performer come up with their own story. And then, take the time to tell people in the audience our unique tale.
Awesome. We'll move swiftly along to our next piece. I think this one was from poetry? Improvised poetry, is that right?
So what I did in this one, and I try to do this every year, is I'm holding a book of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, just the poem. But what I've done is I've gone through and I've made it into a Mad Libs. So I've omitted certain words, and in the lead up to actually the performance, I go through the audience with and ask for adjectives, nouns, those sort of things, and use that to inspire the story as it's developing. So everybody is very familiar with 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, or at least many, many people are. But this way it has that unique spin that will never be the same another time.
It's specifically for that audience. Cool. Our next one, we have a lovely little photo here. This is a performer who you perform with a lot.
This is my dear friend performer John. John is the performer in ImpromptOu that I've worked with the longest. I worked with him first in 2007, so just about 2 decades ago now. In gunfights at Fort Whoop-Up back in the day, and murder mysteries and everything through the years. John and I still work together on a regular basis on stage. I have this is a perfect example of improv being so ethereal. If I see a picture of myself in a show that is scripted, I'm like, oh yes, that's Act 1, Scene 3. I don't even know what game this is. It's just a position that's like, were we singing? Were we frozen? I have no context other than, wow, that's a dramatic photo where we look like some sort of fertility statue almost. So
that's wonderful. Again, to that ethereal nature of it, it just kind of happens, and in the moment, it means so much.
Yes.
And it means it's great to capture those moments. Absolutely. But, nice. And I think I remember this.
I
forget when it was.
Every so often, there is one scene or one moment in an improv show that is just so unique and so inspiring that it's deeply ingrained. This was about two lumberjack and a tree hugger, an ecological preservationist in the forest, debating what to do. We are doing a game where we each sing a song, and at the climax of their song, right before I entered, they both died. And so I had to come on as somebody to the aftermath of these two people dying in a forest. And it was just a great levity-filled moment of like, this is what we're going to do. The concept of the game that we do with this one is we do it in the first act, and then we pick up the story in Act 2 with the exact same game. And so we came back in Act 2, and they were still dead. Like, we just didn't know what else to do. And this scene is actually how we started the second act scene of that show.
Right.
So, and so one of the things that we do a lot of is seeing where they can push things to, where we can poke each other, and where we can push each other to like be our best selves and spotlight ourselves.
That's awesome. This is from a show that you've done recently.
So this is not what people would think of as an improv show. Going back to pushing boundaries, one of the things that's challenging with short form improv is oftentimes we'll see these beautiful, beautiful moments. They happen a lot in monologue games, but also any of our scenes where we watch two characters fall in love. We watch them grieve for a lost parent, a lost lover, a lost pet, a lost friend. We see them break up. We see the heartbreak. We see this whole realm of emotions, and it's wonderful and it's beautiful, and then we throw it away for a laugh. We have a pun, we have a joke, we have that sort of a thing, and that's our goal in the short form humor. People don't come to a short form improv show to feel emotions and to process and work through trauma, or do any of those sort of things. Like that's not what we're aiming for. But as a creator, after working with a number of my colleagues for a decade, it was something we wanted to explore in improv. We'd done enough, we'd seen it enough, we'd felt it enough, that we were like, what if we let those characters exist? What if we gave them the space so they could have a voice, so we could explore heartbreak, that we could explore family, that we could explore love and loss, and all of the beautiful and tragic, everything that goes into those stereotypical theater masks is what we try to do in this show called No Way Out. We've done it, we've mounted this production 6 or 7 times now. So we've taken it to Calgary, to Swift Current, to a few times here in Lethbridge, and this is from the most recent run in 2023. Done it with various performers. The premise of the show is it's always 2 or 3 siblings who are dealing with a conversation that we get through audience suggestion pre-show by going around and talking to the audience. And the question we ask the audience is always the same. It is, these siblings have to deal with a topic to which there is no way out of. It could be planning your parents' 40th anniversary. It could be dealing with your parents' divorce or death or addiction or euthanasia or any of the complex topics that can suddenly rise and bubble up for us. a show that is like it captures that heart of connection and family, and we explore those characters in a way that doesn't pull punches.
Wow, that is super beautiful. We're almost at our time.
Yes.
And I think I have one photo that you will probably recognize here, if I may.
Yes, of course.
And potentially, do you recall what this was from?
I do. It's from an episode of our improvised soap opera, formerly known as Gomorrah, now known as The World Burns.
Yes.
Name change to try and tell people what an improvised soap opera is. It's a character or a show where we tell the continuing story. This was set in the office, and I was the hyper stereotypical Michael Scott inspired boss.
Amazing. Okay.
And so this was an episode where the receptionist who I'd promoted without a pay raise, Ariel New Roman was her name. She finally stood up for herself. And there was a moment prior to this that nobody except for Kat, who I'm sharing the stage with there, and myself know. She had 2 cups in her hand. One had Diet Pepsi and one had water. And there was a moment where she looked at both of those cups and made like she was going to throw that Diet Pepsi and then lowered it. And then I, out of gratitude, took water from my cup, filled up her cup more in that unspoken like moment of trust, and was like, I'm ready. I know where this is going. There's only one way forward. And thankfully somebody was on hand to capture the moment that was then forever immortalized in this post that was at the Galt Museum for our 10-year anniversary exhibit a couple years ago here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Definitely for comedic sake and resounded greatly.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I love that kind of behind the scenes insight of, that moment of trust and decision making. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And I think that's all the time we have for this segment. So this has been the Windy City's finest on location at Good Times with Mac and Perry. I'm Perry, he's Mac, and this has been
David Gabert.
It's Mac and Perry in the place. Da-na-na-na. Mac and Perry
Go live to create.
Da-na-na-na. Mac and Perry invite you to stay.